All right, how's everyone doing? I'm Rich CELENZA. Thanks for tuning in to the Rich CELENZA Show. WTF are you talking about? So, what I want to call today's podcast is It's Never Too Late to Start Working Out. So, if you're not into fitness or any of that stuff, this probably isn't for you. But if you are into fitness, if you like working out, or if you're thinking about working out, you might want to check this out. Listen to this. So, actually, I'm in a hotel in Eugene, Oregon, so it may get a little loud sometimes outside. But today, actually, while I was at the University of Oregon, I took a tour and I videotaped the recreational center there, which was absolutely amazing. I'm going to be putting that on my YouTube page very shortly. A lot of times, a lot of universities don't allow outsiders to come into their facilities and work out, but this was awesome. They allowed me to come in, and it only costs $10 if you want to come in. If you go with a member, it's only $6. The facility is amazing. It has everything from all different state-of-the-art equipment, free weights. It's got many different classes. It has racquetball, tennis facility, indoor and outdoor. It also has squash. You can do handball, obviously. It has rock climbing. It goes on and on and on. And I did a video actually there on that it's never too late to work out, because it was one of those aha moments again where I realized that I'm getting much older in a gym, especially when you're, in a group of a lot younger people, especially in college. And I was thinking while I was there that I remember when I was working out, I was always the youngest guy in the gym. And now I'm basically the middle-aged guy in the gym. I'm not going to say I'm the oldest guy in the gym. That's ridiculous. But I'm definitely getting older. And I've talked about this in my previous podcast, that I used to sneak into the gyms, or a gym, in the early 70s with my mother. My mother was really into fitness. She liked yoga. She even played indoor tennis. But I was fortunate enough to live across the field from one of the largest YMCAs, I think, at least in Illinois, maybe the Midwest. It was a monster. And it had racquetball. It was really state of the art for the mid 70s. And what they did was they started to do a lot of different things with that YMCA. They expanded it. They put another Olympic-sized pool in there. And we also had diving boards indoor, and track in there, and racquetball, handball, all that stuff was coming into play. And then they remodeled. And then in some of the racquetball rooms, because they had so many, they even put some equipment and things in there. And I would sneak in there at 5, 6 years old. I had no idea what the hell I was doing, but I had a cousin, Michael, on the south side of Chicago, who started working out with weights. And he had books, and for some reason I gravitated towards it. I wanted to be bigger and stronger. I was much smaller. And then I also had a lot of cousins that were into boxing a little bit, and they were also into weightlifting or just sports in general. And I had family members that were obsessed with the Chicago Bears, so I loved going to football games at a very, very young age, going with my uncle. So I just fell in love with working out, basically never stopped, played sports. And the one thing I realized more than anything over the years is that it truly is never too late to start working out. That doesn't mean you have to go join a gym. That doesn't mean you have to start joining, going to classes. That doesn't mean you have to do anything you don't want to do. And when I say working out, it could be as simple as walking. It could be as, hiking. Anything physical. But one of the questions I get asked most, and I brought this up previously on my podcast, is how do you stay in a certain type of shape, which takes a lot of time and effort. But I would say also actually, how did you stick with it for as long as you did? Which I think, I'll just say it out. I think I have an insecurity, and I think a lot of people who lift weights have insecurities, because I just always want to be big and strong. That doesn't mean I'm going to get massive anymore, but I definitely don't like being smaller. I like having muscles. I think it's an identity that I really like, and I don't want to lose it. So that's one of the things. And another thing I get asked is, what should I do? and this really is for guys that are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. I mean, I get all different ages asking me, Rich, I want to work out, I don't have the time, or I worked out when I was younger, I don't now. I'm afraid I won't stick with it. I don't get the results. I get too sore, whatever the case may be. It's kind of excuses, and I get we all have excuses, but I'm here to tell you, if you are interested in working out, especially in your 30s and 40s and 50s, and I describe this on the video, that a lot of guys don't realize in their 30, 40, 50s, if they haven't worked out throughout their teens or their 20s, they're actually at a prime time, I think, to start working out. Because if their body isn't fatigued, where for example, me, I've been working out so long, my tendons, my joints, my muscles, I've really taken a toll on my body. It's almost at the point where I'm not saying I'm a professional athlete like football, basketball, like I went to that level of playing sports. But I played a lot of sports till I was 18, and then I lifted a lot of heavy weights for, from basically 18 to about 40. And I never stopped, and I beat my body up. And I also had it where I would get very big, so I'd be 230 to 250, and then I'd go down to 220 maybe, then I'm 240, whatever. I would, my skin would get, stretched, then come down, my muscles, would get bigger, and then a little smaller, then bigger and stronger. I've also had injuries where guys in their 30s, 40s, 50s and up, if you didn't work out, you're kind of starting fresh. And I do believe that you'll be shocked at what you can get out of working out. That doesn't mean you're going to look amazing, or you're going to look, you can look any way you want. I'm not saying in your 30s you could look any way it could turn out really unbelievable for you. I think a lot of people don't realize that. It's just going to take time. But a lot of strength, a lot of men and women don't realize how strong they are in their 30s. I think for some reason they think they're weaker, but I've seen a lot of guys in their 30s and 40s that ended up being a lot stronger, and that's men and women, compared to their 20s and 30s or teens. And also, I think people need to realize too, is when you're older, you're just a lot more mature about a lot of things. Of course, you may have an ego, but I realized in my teens and even in my 20s and even early 30s, a lot of it was ego driven. Where sometimes if you're in your mid 30s or 30s, 40s or 50s, you have a sense of what you're truly looking for. And you're also busy with having a life a lot of times. You may not get caught up with, let me get some water here. Like a lot of people that I used to see working out with, taking, different supplements, steroids, kind of beating their body up, all those type of things, because hopefully you're smarter. And I always talk about working out. It's about the longevity. It's the long road. It's about decades. It's about really being able to work out, not just now, but not getting hurt or injured, and being smart. And I think a lot of people, when they're older, and when I say older, even middle age, they're just a lot smarter in general, I think. I can only speak for myself, and of course everybody has different intelligence at certain times in their life. But from what I've seen, there's a different kind of, what would I say? Just a different vibe when I see somebody older working out. And I think they're smarter. I think they're better at listening. I think they study better. And I think sometimes when you're older, when you're working out, you're truly sometimes not doing it just always for, how much can I bench press hypothetically? How much can I squat? Or, when you're running, not being obsessed with having to do certain things. Now, of course, there are people out there that do become obsessed with all those things, which more power to you. I am one of those people. But I think a lot of people go into other things as well, which could be yoga, Pilates, it could be running, it could be all these different things, even doing marathons, triathlons, and things in that nature, swimming. And that's all wonderful. And I also think one of the things middle-aged or older sometimes they get intimidated a lot of times, I think. And I talk about that in my videos on YouTube a lot of times, that people are either afraid of working out if they never worked out in their past, because I think they think it's too advanced, and they may see things on television. It could be CrossFit events, or they see magazine covers. It could be muscle fitness, flex, all these things with all these jacked up guys or girls looking incredible, or they're just lazy. A lot of people are lazy, and they don't want to admit that. They almost need to be talked into, doing certain things like working out, or they need a partner to go with, which I understand all those things. All right. I get it. Each person has their own way of doing things, but I'm here to tell you, if you truly do want to get in shape, regardless what age you are, you can do it. And you most likely would be shocked, man, at the results you get. But you cannot look at it in a month or two. I tell people, you kind of got to look at it as like a year or 2 years down the road. Now, that doesn't mean beating yourself up. I always tell people, the slower you start, the better off it's going to be for you. Because most people that I've seen over the years that start off hardcore, even with a trainer, beat the shit out of themselves regardless what age. They get sore, they get fatigued, and if they don't love that, they get aggravated, and then a lot of them quit because they resent it. Instead of looking forward to working out, they actually, they despise it after a while. Or they may not get the results they want. They may have expected to lose more weight. They may expect to build more muscle. All these things, and it didn't come in the time frame they thought. I'm here to tell you that take your time, all right? And, another thing too, which I want to start doing, is self-defense. So if you're thinking of working out, and say in the past you may have tried weights and you were bored to death. You may have even tried different sports. It could be like maybe playing volleyball, locally. I'm just using for an example. You may have gone and tried and played flag football, and you just, you're just older. You've outgrown that. But if you go into something like, say, boxing, and again, you can just go hit the mitts with a trainer. You can hit a bag, a speed bag, and you don't have to get hit in the face. But it may be something you might want to try, because I think a lot of times with men, I could say, and women, is, working out a lot of times, let's say in a gym or lifting weights, for instance, it's nice. It gives you some muscles and you kind of like that. But after a while, you may get very bored, like a lot of people. But I think when you hit the bag, or you start boxing, or even doing jiu-jitsu or any type of martial arts, MMA, you get a certain type of satisfaction. And it could be even wrestling, judo, whatever the case may be, where, you're learning not only how to get fit, but you're learning how to protect yourself. And there's something really valuable in that, right? It's something that, you're shaping into. And I think a lot of people walk around, they don't admit it, in fear that something could happen to them. They could be jumped. And this goes for male or female. They could get beat up. They could get robbed. Somebody can hurt them, their children, their girlfriend, their wife, their boyfriend, whatever the case may be. And I think if you've, like I said, never had luck in the past, and it could be, again, running, it could be whatever it is, and you've never tried any type of sport where it's kind of hand-to-hand combat, you might think about that. You got to realize, too, a lot of people, when they think boxing, they think they got to get in a ring and get the shit kicked out of them. You don't have to do that, especially if you're older. You're there just to train. There's a big difference. They understand, if you go to a gym, that you're not going to most likely want to, go fight, especially make it into a living, unless you want to. But for the most part, they know you're there to get in shape, learn how to throw your hands, learn some defense, have some fun, and get in shape. That's how you have to think about that. You don't always have to think about getting the shit kicked out of you. Now, as time goes on and you want to start upping it where you start challenging, that's great. But if not, don't worry about it. There's tons of different classes out there. The same goes with self-defense, and I've done podcasts on this. Is if you don't know how to protect yourself, you should do that very quickly. Now, that does not mean you have to be a black belt. Again, that does not mean you have to be, a semi-professional fighter. That doesn't mean any of those things. Again, man or woman, I would just recommend you're at the point where if something goes down, you know how to protect yourself, and hopefully others as well that are around you. That doesn't mean I'm telling you got to be able to take on 2 guys, 3 guys, or any of that. But what I am saying is you are in a position now And it's going to take time where you're confident enough to make sure that if you do get into a jam, you at least have a shot. Okay? And again, I know that a lot of people want to do that. They're either, again, too lazy or they're afraid. Or they're caught into a certain routine. And I've seen people over the years, like, they're doing their workout for so long they don't want to change anything else. So, for instance, in my case, I'll be honest. One is I have shoulder issues from working out so hard. I've torn my rotator's cuff. Cuff? Yeah, I screwed that up. Anyways, my rotator cuff. So, did I say that right? I'm losing it here. I'm a little exhausted. But my lower back. I've just had a lot of injuries over the year from lifting heavy weights, and I'm almost like I'm kind of like a beat up fighter myself. But even when I throw a punch, it hurts. And I don't want to necessarily I want to go start doing maybe jujitsu or boxing, because I used to box when I was younger and I used to wrestle for many, many years, and I was pretty good at it. I was a lot better at wrestling than boxing. But I almost don't want to spend an extra day or two like changing my workout because I think I'll lose size or I may lose strength. That's an insecurity of mine. So I'm kind of caught between wanting to evolve and try something new or go back to what I was doing to a certain degree. But at the same time, I don't want to lose what I already have. But the truth is, I think also I'm lazy. I'm kind of caught in a rut. And I think a lot of people who work out get caught in those ruts regardless what age. And I'm here to tell you again, try to evolve and break out of that. I'm trying to do it because, lifting weights or doing one certain thing, and if or two or three, it's wonderful. But I think for us to truly, just keep moving forward and, testing our bodies and our minds and all those type of things, I think it's great to consistently try different things. I don't care if it's tennis. I don't care if you go surfing. I've talked about that before. Just trying other physical activities where you're using different muscles in different ways, and you're just kind of just evolving. I don't know how else to say it, but that. So yeah, please, if you are thinking of working out, going back to the original thing, I got a little off course there, but yeah, don't think your body too, if you've never worked out in the past, or if you haven't worked out for many, many years, that it can't get back into the shape it was at one time. You'd be shocked again because of muscle memory. And a lot of people, and I've talked about this as well, is if you weren't an athlete in your past, you got picked last, let's say, in school, when it came to teams, or you just weren't good at these certain type of sports that were being played in your, could be middle school, grade school, middle school, high school, college. That doesn't mean you're not athletic. You just probably haven't found what you're looking for. And I've been doing podcasts on this and videos. The other thing is you're not that same person. You're not even the same person from last year or last week. But if you really go back, you're not the same person mentally or physically. A lot of men and women, like I was saying earlier, become a lot stronger. They just changed over the years. And they don't realize that. They sometimes think they're like that weakling that they were 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, or whatever in the past that you thought you were. You're really not that person anymore. So you really have to think about that, especially if you've never worked out before. And because I've discussed this before, some of the people that I'm around now really never worked out that much in their past. But then when they hit 30, 40, 50, they really started to gravitate towards it, especially a lot of women after they've had a couple kids in their youth. If they went to college, they may have ran here or there or done dance or something, but then they ended up getting married and having kids and being very busy being mothers. And then when their kids got a little older, they had some time on their hands and they started doing things like yoga or running or just going to the gym, or it could be cycling, it could be crew, whatever the case may be. And they didn't realize all their potential. And as time went on, they almost became addicted to it. And that goes for Samba and classes and all those things. But yeah, they end up instructors. They end up doing all these things. And they're in better shape, literally, in their 40s and 50s when they were, or compared to their 20s and 30s. And one of those is my girlfriend. So when I met her, and I said that in the video today, she was in her mid 40s. She looked great. She was very thin. She's probably about 100 pounds when I met her. You know, those little Filipinos. So, and she hated the gym. And she'd come and visit me in California. And I used to tell her, if you plan on spending time with me, I'm going to be at the gym, 4 or 5 times a week. So even if you come here to visit me on vacation, I'm going to be at the gym. So if, you want to go shop or do whatever you want to do. But I remember the first, I don't know, a few times she went to the gym with me. She just stood there. She was miserable. She didn't know what to do. I think she was intimidated. I think in her past in college, which is funny, I'm here in Oregon. She's a duck. She, I think, did dance and she ran, but nothing with weights from what I understand. But she slowly but surely started to work out, and I think she started to see some incredible results. And she did really well, excelled, and I mean, really did a transformation as far as strength and power. She really, I mean, it was pretty amazing, even in her mid 40s, to see where she's at. Now she's 50. And I just recently I took her to a yoga class. And I've done yoga in the past. I get bored with it. I like it. Then I flip-flop on it again, trying different things. But I took her, and I couldn't believe how good she was great. And I think she likes that as well now. And I've been telling her, take some classes, because now she's mainly in the weightlifting. Basically LA Fitness type of stuff. Mainly weights, bicycle, treadmill, those type of things. And I could tell she's kind of getting bored. And so am I, truthfully. So I said, let's do something different. And again, she never realized, I think, from what I've seen and when I even talked to her true potential. I think she always just thought she was going to be she used to say how weak I am. I never had coordination, I never had strength, but I'm really proud of her, actually, because she's come so far. And there's a lot of women out there, and a lot of guys too, that they really can go so far, and they could get in really great shape. And even if you're not in great shape, if you're in decent shape, that's great too. And I tell people, just work out a few times a week. If you do 2, that's great. Any workout's a good workout. If you've never worked out in your past and you plan on working out, you do not have to be there 4 to 6 times a week, no matter what anybody tells you. Okay? You don't have to take all these damn supplements. You don't have to go on all these damn diets. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You have to realize that. And what everybody else is doing, God bless, let them do their thing. You figure out what's best for you. You start working out or doing whatever you want to do, regardless what your friends, family members, colleagues say or are doing. You need to make it work for you. So that is the most important. If you don't love what you're doing, you're never going to stick with it. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up there. I think I've said that a million times. Hopefully you're getting the picture, but I'll wrap it up there. If you have any questions or anything, hit me up. Leave a comment, whatever. I post this on YouTube. It's on LinkedIn. Obviously, it's on my podcast all over the place there as well. But I'm also in other places, Facebook. And you definitely might want to check out some of my YouTube videos. I've been doing a lot of stuff regarding fitness and giving advice on many different things, especially for middle-aged guys and women. So yeah, check that out. And that's just Rich CELENZA. My website's richcelenza.com. You can go find everything there. I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So please, take care of yourself. You know what I mean? You're the one who has to do that. Nobody else could do that for you. And have fun. All right, take care. And if you're traveling, one more last thing I wanted to say, which was, I forgot to say, it was regarding my mother. My mother has finally gone back and swimming. And she was always a great athlete, and I've been begging her to go swim. She's heading into 70 years old, and she went back swimming, and she feels better every single day. She stopped working out for a while. She stopped walking. I told her, you'd be shocked again once you get in that pool and you start exercising, how you're going to feel, and slowly but surely, she is feeling much better. So if you have parents out there, grandparents, and if you're somebody who's working out already, keep them going, okay? You'd be shocked on, you working out, how much of an influence you have on others. And if you're not working out and your parents aren't working out, or grandparents or any of that, maybe join with them. Have some fun. Spend some extra time with your parents. That could be your siblings as well. Again, make it fun. And just, you know what I mean? That's all I got for you. Take care.